Today is the first day of real reckoning for the Epstein class.
We have been advocates of maximum transparency, but we have also insisted that the victims be carefully protected.
I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. You should go and look at the Democrats who received money from Epstein.
I beg you, President Trump, please stop making this political. Your behavior on this issue has been a national embarrassment.
Well, the bill to release the Epstein files passed the House this afternoon. The Senate is going to take it up by unanimous consent. It could soon be on the president's desk. Let's bring in our panel now. Fox News contributor Hugh Hewitt, Josh Holmes, host of the Ruthless podcast, and former Chief of Staff to Senator Mitch McConnell, and Politico White House Bureau Chief Dasha Burns. So the president did an about-face on Epstein after resisting this for an awfully long time. Dasha, you and your colleague Jack Blanchard wrote about this in terms of its cost to President Trump. What a debacle this has been for the president. 4 months of defensive plays that divided his core supporters, wasted precious political capital, and offered an open goal to his opponents, and still didn't prevent the files being dragged out in the open. And this from Marjorie Taylor Greene earlier today.
This has been one of the most destructive things to MAGA. Watching this actually turn into a fight has ripped MAGA apart.
Dasha, where does the president stand tonight, politically?
Well, look, practically, he is going to sign this bill. He said as much. His team is now going to pivot to a strategy of, according to my sources, pushing the Democrats, investigating Democrats. The Stacey Plaskett incident with her texting Jeffrey Epstein during a hearing, they are going to go big on that. The concern for the White House, though, is that no matter what happens from here, no matter what is released, there is not going to be enough to satisfy the people that want that smoking gun. And they are concerned that this is not going to go away, even with the bill signing, even with more getting released.
You know, the Democrats here have trying to pin this on President Trump, but the blowback, Stacey Plaskett, Larry Summers, who said, "I'm deeply ashamed of my actions and recognize the pain they have caused. I take full responsibility for my misguided decision to continue communicating with Mr. Epstein." It goes on, but he talked to Epstein for years after the sexual things first became public. So who comes out of this worse?
It's a frag grenade that hits a bunch of people that we don't know. There are at least 36 victims of Jeffrey Epstein who he abused, that I feel for them that they're back in the center light. It will not take a dent in Donald Trump. He's got nothing to do with this. I believe him completely that this will absolutely bounce off of him. However, it is going to always tar the people who pushed it forward, including the Republicans who pushed it forward, because it's a stunt that was indifferent to the needs of the victim. It should make people angry, and it will hurt some innocent people.
It's interesting, in the House today, there was only one no vote, that from Clay Higgins, Republican of Louisiana, who said, if enacted in its current form, this type of broad reveal of criminal investigative files released to a rabid media will absolutely result in innocent people being hurt. Are you concerned, Josh, when it gets over to the Senate? Speaker Johnson implored the Senate to fix that part of it. Do you think it will just go through the way the House passed it? And could that be a real problem?
Look, I think it's politically untenable to do anything other than get it off their plate as fast as possible. But Clay Higgins is entirely right, and I think Hugh is exactly right. The unintended consequences of something like this are profound. I mean, I think this is a perfect vignette into one of the dumbest eras of American politics I've ever seen. You've got huge press conferences put together about Epstein, a guy who died several years ago for crimes committed 2 decades ago. Meanwhile, you got people worrying about health care, they're worrying about the economy, they're worrying about all this stuff, and the political class sort of celebrating this whole thing, which has absolutely nothing to do with improving the lives of the American people.
Quick thought?
I think the longer term implication for Trump politically out of this incident, though, is this permission structure that has now been created. I think that's part of the reason the White House has been so frustrated. A permission structure because of folks like Marjorie Taylor Greene for people in the MAGA base to resist him or to vote against him.
All right, let's go to foreign policy, because Hugh, I know you love that. The meeting today between President Trump and Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince. The President and the Crown Prince talking about the Abraham Accords in their meetings. Listen here.
We've had a very good talk on the Abraham Accords. I think you have a very good feeling toward the Abraham Accords.
Yes, definitely, Mr. President. We want peace for the Israelis. We want peace for the Palestinians. We want them to coexist peacefully in the region.
So the Prime Minister, the Crown Prince said that he wants to be a part of the Abraham Accords, but He wants to make sure there's a two-state solution in Israel.
This is the most significant thing that's going to happen between now and the end of the year is this visit by the Crown Prince to the White House. If the Abraham Accords expand to include Saudi Arabia, it will reinvent the Middle East in the way that President Trump started in his first term. It's a big win for the president. It's a serious topic, and we all ought to be focused on the serious things, not the sideshows in Congress.
Right. So it's the first visit of the Saudi de facto leader since Jamal Khashoggi was murdered. That came up in the question and answer. Listen to this.
About the journalists, it's really painful to hear, anyone that been losing his life for, no real purpose. It's painful and it's a huge mistake, and we are doing our best that this doesn't happen again.
You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen, but he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that.
The president says Mohammed bin Salman knew nothing about it. A 2021 U.S. intelligence assessment says that he, at the very least, green-lighted it.
Yeah, look, there are going to be a lot of Americans that are uncomfortable with the red carpet being rolled out for MBS. But this has been the Trump foreign policy doctrine. Reach out, talk to people that other leaders haven't talked to, invite them to the White House, no matter who it might offend.
Right. So, Josh, frosty relations between the United States and Saudi Arabia during the Biden administration. There was a fist bump instead of a handshake. It was all about Khashoggi. That seems to have been put behind us in terms of official U.S. foreign policy. So where do you see the relationship going forward?
Yeah, I mean, we see the results of that Biden relationship with Saudi Arabia and what happened in the 4 years that he was presiding over all. The absolute abject disaster, chaos, war in the Middle East. If you look at where the Trump administration from the first 4 years left off with the Abraham Accords, you can very clearly see a line drawn towards this visit and ultimately an expansion of an Abraham Accords where you can have a future in the Middle East that is not war-torn, that has economic incentive, not only in the region, but with the United States of America. You can see this on a number of different occasions. They're doing it a different way, and frankly, they've had success every step.
Saudi Arabia's got lots of money. MBS said that he's going to invest up to $1 billion in the United States. And here is what, sorry, that's $1 trillion.
Trillion.
Yeah. Billion, trillion, it gets nebulous after a while. Bret Baier asked the Treasury Secretary about that. Listen here.
What's the timetable for investments like that? When you hear $1 trillion, what are we thinking timetable-wise?
Well, I can tell you the president's very keen for it to happen during his term, and we're already seeing a lot of it start to flow in.
Hugh, you and I come from an era when $1 billion was a lot of money.
Yeah, well, I'm looking for where that $400 billion goes. If he puts it into the leading AI companies, that will reduce the fear of the AI bubble that's out there. But it's welcome news, and the president just keeps bringing home win after win, as Scott Bessent told Brett.
New relationship between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia on the books here?
Potentially. I'm curious to see what that means for Israel. That relationship has obviously not been incredibly cozy, and how the president gets these leaders that have not traditionally gotten along to get on the same page.
Final thought, Josh?
Yeah, there's a trust relationship here. You can see that with the sale of the F-35. You know, if Saudi Arabia wasn't going to get it from us, probably get it from China. Probably creates more problems in the Middle East than it solves. This way, there is a trust relationship that they can build on. I think it's all good news from today.
Could be exciting times for the Middle East ahead. Thank you for joining us tonight, folks. Really appreciate it.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.